question to the panel, which is when you're looking at early companies, so how do you assess value?
So for sort of later stage opportunities, there's the tried and true, do a financial analysis, look at the market opportunity, development plan, and go down that path. For earlier stage opportunities, it's more difficult, frankly. And and for us, I think it's more about looking at areas of strategic focus and figuring out how those opportunities might fit into those particular areas. I think what we try to think about is what are we doing internally? How is what are we doing internally complementary to what this party brings to the table? So more importantly, at the earlier stage, we're creating more of a kind of a symbiotic relationship where we're adding value to what they're doing, they're adding value to what we're doing, and kind of together we're able to advance the program to a value inflection point more quickly.
What are their top 3 rules you wish you could tell everyone in the world before they show you a pitch deck?
So, I'll just start. We actually look at the knowledge of biology because for us, the team that's doing the work has to have a really deep understanding of the biology that they're in order to differentiate themselves.
Yeah, I would echo a lot of what Leslie just said. I mean, the first thing we look for is, is there a very strong link between that particular target and the disease? So we look at the landscapes at a disease area level. We also look very carefully about what the others do. Others have capabilities differentiated from ourselves. Again, you could argue in oncology the PROTAC field has just exploded, so this is a truly novel way of degrading targets and intervening in the biology in a way never been seen before. So again, another truly disruptive technology. So I think those are good examples and tips.
You do have to be careful about is not trying to link differentiation purely on a modalities perspective. Because if you have an RNA and somebody else has an antibody, just because you're developing an RNA, unless there's something really special about why you're trying to do that. And I think, again, a lot of the aspects, again, reinforcing what Chris had said, we're not looking at things just because they're a cool new way of doing things.
You have to get someone's attention, and when you go to and there are tons of posters and they're all talking about the same thing, our blinders are going to be, we're just going to keep on going. And we're not going to stop and look at the poster. You have to be able to step back and say, what am I trying to communicate? What am I trying to do? How is the best way to get the attention? And to show a company, a large company, how you will shave the time off of the development or increase the chance of success with your platform.
Understanding, as Leslie said, what's the value that sort of I bring to the table? Where are the capabilities that I need to access and prioritize those capabilities sort of matched against partners? Because I think the most productive conversations you'll be able to have are ones that are focused on very clearly stating the value that you believe you bring and the value that you think you could actually generate together that's larger than what you could do individually.
Really, in the first 3 or 4 minutes that you're talking to them, just make sure that you say, imagine if, right? And whatever comes after that if has got to grab our attention so that they'll say, oh, what? Right? And I think that's, and if you've got something after that, imagine if, then I think anybody's going to listen to you.
Okay, thank you. So imagine if you've now got your differentiated pitch deck. You understand what value means to a large pharma. You've done your research. You actually know that the pharma you're approaching is actually in your disease area. Please do that.
Yeah, that's important.
Yeah, because you won't get accepted. Now you're maybe doing a speed dating or something with someone at this table. How do they know that this is actually the right person in the company? How do they? What's the time frame? What do they expect?
All of us have, again, fairly detailed databases, et cetera, about where contacts have been made, when the last time we've talked with a given company. If you can identify who within the therapeutic area, again, most of us, including my organization, is divided by therapeutic area expertise. The therapeutic areas are responsible for their portfolio, so that takes some time. But we do try to be as responsive as we can, and I think it's a responsibility of the people within the business development organization to ensure that there is a good understanding of where things are in the process. So that, I think, is a very important thing, and a responsibility from our perspective in allowing people to know where we've ended up with different opportunities.
You at J&J is that when you come in through one door, hopefully it will get to where it needs to go. And so my view is always that if I get an opportunity in, I send it to where it has to go. I will figure out where it has to go, even when it's a platform and we don't have a therapeutic area, right? So fundamentally, we do platform technology deals all the time. And sometimes the therapeutic area isn't ready. And if you don't hear from me within a couple of weeks, you reach back out to me. Because eventually I will always chase down the person I sent it to and say, what's up? And then we try to get an answer. But do find out from the person you send it to how long it's going to be. How long should you expect before you hear back from in one way or another?
So Leslie, you're a good point that it doesn't insult us if you follow up. But I think what's important to recognize is that you may be coming in for the deal, but what you're meeting us for is a relationship.
Right.
Because you're not going to get the deal coming out. Unlikely you're going to sign the deal that day. And there's, of course, some very large deals that appear to happen that way that ruin the entire, expectations. But, part of that relationship is that you can expect that we'll give you some meaningful feedback. Sometimes it's hard because maybe you're bringing a program that's competing directly with something we're doing internally. We can't give you very meaningful feedback in that case. But most of the time we'll tell you what we see as deficient or what is missing for us. And what we want to see is next time we talk to you, you remember that and you address it. Not just that you repitch your deck, now we're immuno-oncology, so that other thing isn't a problem anymore. It's probably something fundamental we want to see. And in that kind of iterative way, if we can build trust with you, then that leads to deals.
And try and make it easy for us to evaluate what you have as well. I've been sent patents in German. I have been sent publication quoting other people's data. Just sometimes less is better initially. I personally like to be drip-fed things. So, again, it's quite simple stuff, but, non-confidential summaries. Don't send us everything up front and let us come back to you and maybe ask you, as long as what the original deck is very clear on what the opportunity is.
Yeah, and I think that just as one little thing is you generally do not have to send us the market size slides, okay? Because we probably already know. So stick to the science and the differentiation.
I always say a great way to contact us is through our website, amgenbd.com. There's a web form there, and I know a lot of folks think that just goes into a black hole. But frankly, that is the most efficient way to get into our process. Emails get lost. They get forwarded to somebody who then forwards it to somebody else. When it goes through, at least at Amgen, through our web portal, there is a guarantee that you'll get a response and then it will be triaged by the right person because we have a staff that's job is just to do that. And so, I always share, don't think of that as sort of, the wrong way to reach out. I think that's a great way, right? And there's others as well as people have mentioned.
Yeah. Is there a way to engage when you know you're too early?
I will admit, those are sometimes prioritized second after the immediate need things that we're looking at. But especially if you're near someone local, or if you you can set up a WebEx or just a conference call with a slide deck. But we do that kind of stuff all the time. What I find is as long as we can find an hour in someone's day, everybody's intellectually curious and they like to ask questions. And those questions, if you listen to them correctly, will give you the answer that you need.
We've talked, I think, oftentimes in the panel this morning about the repeated interactions that oftentimes you have with organizations and pharma, et cetera. Many of the deals that we've made over the course of the years have been based on discussions we've had with an organization, sometimes that span years as well. One of the flip sides of that is oftentimes we also get approached by companies that believe they've got a phase 3 ready asset. They've been plowing along and been doing the phase 2A and doing phase 2B, but haven't really talked with other people about what they may want to see. And that's very important for a large company that is then being asked to contribute tens or sometimes hundreds of millions of dollars in a phase 3 study when they don't feel that they have the right information to inform them to construct that pivotal study. So that's kind of an extreme example of not listening or not seeking advice early on.
Do any of you have a short list of companies that you proactively contact, and how does someone get on that short list? I mean, we tend to be very much sit back and wait for them to contact us.
We do, but we have to kill you all.
It's typically based on previous interactions that you've had that have been productive, and we will be waiting, say, for a value inflection point. It's usually data-based, right? And so, I think typically for us, particularly if it's in one of our therapeutic areas of focus and the strategic fit is there, but maybe the data hasn't matured to the point where it makes sense, frankly, for either party to partner at that point. There's definitely, companies that we're keeping track of, and we'll proactively stay in touch with, as the data matures.
Yeah, I think that how to get on the short list. Hire a likable business development person. Or have a likable CEO who loves to get out and talk to people and form relationships. But you get someone that's likable, really good at talking about the technology, may not be the expert, but really good at talking about it and being able to drum up the excitement and talk about it with excitement and say, this is going to be so much fun. I love working with it because blah, 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 right? Then you're going to get the rest of us going, oh, I need to pay attention to that.